Right on time, right on time. Y'all get in here. We're going to talk today about the Neanderthal and his woman. Y'all get in here. Y'all get in here. I don't understand what's going on with him. I don't know. I don't know. Well, we yet I understand. I shouldn't say that. I understand perfectly what it is. I understand perfectly what it is. Jeff, what up? What up, dog? First comment in there. What up, dog? Kwame Kaji, what up? What up? What up? What up? Ahmad, what up, dog? What up? Mm. See, we got us some lurkers here because usually everybody will make a comment all at once. If these were my subs, probably some white women. Hope y'all take a note. Or white men, you know how they love to defend them. Distant Rose, what up? Saul, what up? Lion, what up? Science guy, what up? Boy, tomorrow I got quite a day planned for y'all tomorrow. Infamy, what up? Yeah, brother Zeke, you right, man. Yeah, buddy. Becky crashing out. Yeah, about it. We go talk about that. We go talk about that. We go talk about that. Lindsay Clancy today. That's just one of the stories, man. That's just the one that's getting the most media attention, man. This shit is widespread. Trevor, what up, man? Oh, I told you I told you I was gonna keep this background. I told you I was gonna keep this background. I told you I was gonna keep this background because I need for this is not see somebody will see this and think that I hate white people. I don't hate white people, but at the same time, I need white people to stop trying to gaslight black people and acknowledge where they come from. This is white people's roots. You can argue with your mama. Even some white people tell you this is who we started out as. Raj Thomas. Oh yeah, the snow bunnies. Yeah, Ken. What up, dog? What up? Oh, shit, motherfuckers would be taking off for the hills if I was the president. Like that broad that just admitted what is that in Arcadia, California or something. She admitted she was a Chinese spy. I would have her tried and shot on TV. I'm dead ass. I would have her tried and shot on TV, and I wouldn't give a fuck what the ACLU, MS, NBC, anybody had or MS Now had to say about that shit. Yep, I have her ass tried and shot on TV, or maybe even hung like they did the fucking Rosenbergs. People need to have an example set for them. Everybody is looking at this country as a goddamn grab bag, right? Everybody is looking at this country as for what the fuck they can get out of it. Nobody's looking to add to this country no more, and it's destroying this country slowly. Right? We need to put a stop to that. Jeff writes, it might be tough to hear, but we can't be black pill towards Keisha and blue pill towards the other bras. We sure in the hell can't. That's why I had to talk to y'all about the Hispanic women earlier. I had to remind y'all, hey, the Hispanic women, you know what? I might do. Is that something I should handle in Patreon? Yeah, I might want to handle it in the Patreon because the people might start flagging over that shit. But Hispanic women, like I told y'all earlier, they started out in colonialism and slavery too. But look how much more labor that they willing to put in, not only at their job, but in their relationships and so-called black women are. Strange, isn't it? Yeah. We see that. We see that, Lion, and it's appalling. Lion writes, you see all those females and bush pigs making excuses for Lindsay Clancy slaughtering her kids. Yeah, I see that. Chill, what up, man? Stefan, what up? Mike Andrews, what up? Fox and Hounds, what up? Doug Dissonant, what up? Of course I will say that. Of course I will say that. Raj Thomas, right? Tito didn't, or of course, yeah, I did say that. Tito, didn't you say that most white people are complicit to shit that happens around them? Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm definitely gonna cook them. I heard about that, and the first question that I asked is, if they supposed to be talking about investments and crypto and shit, why are they having a singles event there? Why are so-called black people so obsessed with why are we so obsessed with relationships when our relationships don't fucking work? I don't get it. Yep. King Des writes, great point. All races expect us to be super simps due to all the unwarranted simping we've done for Keisha for centuries. Oh, and I still got you on that video, I promise. You got to realize how hard this storm shit has been, man. How do I feel about Byron Donald's win in in the RNC primary in Florida? I'm glad that he won, but I'm gonna say this, and I'm not trying to divide. Well, I'm not a Republican, so I can't divide the party. But the Republican Party, if they want to make any gains, we have to we have to identify some more viable Black American candidates, Black American male candidates, and I don't mean the tetherized Republicans that regurgitate Fox News talking points. I don't mean the swirlers and ghetto gaggers that convert to a Republican because they marry a white man. I mean actual regular conservative foundational American black people that recognize what skin we have in the game and what franchise we have in this country and what their lineage is. That the Republican Party needs to identify people like those. And when it comes to people like Byron Donald and Winsome Sears, they have to stop with that. My parents came here with $5 shit, because it's an insult to Black Americans. You're insulting the legacy and the intelligence of Black Americans when you say that shit. That's what I think. I mean, if they had paid me a few thousand a week, I would help them do it. I ran the camp. I managed the campaign before. I would help them do it. Science guy writes, I don't even want to hear Brad. I don't even want to hear Brass talking about this because they defend white people that delete black people. So I don't want to hear them complain about this. Honestly, I think black men have a say. I think mostly black men have a say. Okay. What about Danielle Carter in Chicago? I don't have a problem with her. If you talking about who I think you're talking about, I don't have a problem with her. Danielle Carter. That's the brown skin fine one, right? Ain't it? Danielle Carter. Yeah, the one that be on TikTok all the time. Yeah. Yeah. She got a big ass and some big titties.
Hey, yo. Did this goofy ass motherfucker right here just compliment that female? You're a sis. You're a sis. Goofy ass nigga. You goofy ass nigga. This shit ass nigga had the audacity to pull out this pretty.
I don't know. It's an ass forward pitch on Instagram that might I don't know. People might have something to say about it, but no, I guess the Republican Party has left the culture wars alone. Hopefully, Adrian, what up, dog? Yeah, call myself simping again. Okay, we about to do a lot of screen sharing right now. This shit got to be talked about. And then there's many black pills to come at the end. I'm guessing y'all saving y'all cash apps for tomorrow. I don't know.
A routine arrest inside a police vehicle suddenly turned into a disturbing confrontation. A handcuffed woman was seated in the back of the patrol car when she allegedly spit in an officer's face.
What's the color?
You spit. A routine arrest inside a police vehicle suddenly turned into a...
It's like some shit off The Exorcist. You see that shit? Ah, damn. I heard two bobcats out here fighting last night, and they ain't even sound like that. That's fucking ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Two wild animals was outside last night fighting.
Whoa. What the fuck is that? Whoa. What is this?
Yeah.
Is it an amp? It looks like a kid. Leg. Okay. Oh,
well,
shit.
white woman and bird their child.
We have as many body cams up here as we can, yeah. Check out this blanket. Watch out, there's a shotgun there, too. But there's weight to this blanket.
When officers open the trunk, they discover a small body wrapped in a shower towel. The body appeared to be dismembered, missing various body parts. Everyone on scene manages to hold their composure after what they've just witnessed and devise a plan to raid Julis's apartment building.
Let's go grab her.
Yeah, we gotta go grab her.
Baby condos. She ran in there, by the way. She booked it, ran. She got out. Pull that, though, so it doesn't rain.
She ran in her apartment. She's not gonna come to the door.
We're gonna have to go and get her.
Within 15 minutes, patrol vehicles arrive at the building, carrying nearly a dozen officers and multiple bulletproof shields. Julissa is no longer a strange, discombobulated woman. She's the primary suspect in a gruesome homicide.
Whoa. What the...
New details this morning in the murder-suicide of a family in upstate New York.
All these are recent.
4 children were found dead on June 23rd. Investigators now say they were drugged. One child stabbed multiple times with defensive wounds. Mechanicville police say a mother and grandmother killed the kids before...
This murder, these murders right here happened in June, but because of the investigation, the police just not informed the media the other day.
Killing themselves.
Well, last week, I'm sorry, forgive me.
Investigators say text messages reveal Sarah Myers and her mother, Amy Stedman, talked about getting medications, giving them to the kids, where they'd kill them, and how to avoid suspicion. Police believe the children were killed on June 10th. New details this morning in the murder-suicide of a...
Lindsay Clancy. We just got word the jury is done for the day. Back to Brian Yanis live in Plymouth. What can you tell us about this move, Brian?
Bill, good morning. Well, in about 2 hours, the day is done. Surprising. We thought that it would begin with testimony. It did not. Each juror was questioned by the judge about what we simply don't know, actually. We don't know why the jurors were questioned, but all of a sudden they were. And then there was the witness that went up, the last defense witness. Her name was Shayla Kavanaugh. She did testify today. She was a chaplain at Brigham and Women's Hospital who visited with Lindsay Clancy multiple times while she received treatment after the killings. She said that Lindsay alluded to having hearing a voice, and that the voice, according to Lindsay, told her that if she did not follow the command, neither she or her children would be safe. This is important because the defense is arguing that Lindsay Clancy was hearing voices that told her to kill herself and her children, and therefore she was going through a postpartum psychosis temporary that caused her to kill her children. She did not know what she was doing was wrong. That testimony ended after the prosecution challenged her on a few questions, and now we are dealing with a situation where court will resume tomorrow. The judge says that it will be a, quote, longer day, and then we expect closings on Monday.
Breaking news in the trial of Lindsay Clancy. We just got word.
Did you ever in this visit see signs of mania?
No.
And is that something you look for?
Yes.
And did you ever see signs of delusions or paranoia?
No.
How about psychosis?
No.
Would it surprise you to know that they indicated that they couldn't treat her as a woman with postpartum psychosis or postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety or any of that, because their opinion was that she was suffering from an over-medication?
It would surprise me, yes.
Did you ever in this visit see signs of mania?
No.
And is that something you look for?
Heard the expert testimony.
We're here today to support Lindsay, but also all these incredible women that you see pouring in.
You see this?
I think this has become less of a trial. Whatever's
see
going
this?
on behind those doors in the courtroom, it's become more about
you see this?
How Lindsay's been failed in obtaining the mental health help that she deserved.
I think a lot of us are here today because what we're seeing transpire hits close to home in many different ways. I'm a nurse before I was ever a mother, and I got introduced to the broken healthcare system that we all know that we have. Within that broken healthcare system is an even more broken mental health care system, and then women suffer in every aspect from that.
I have a personal connection. I worked with Lindsay for a few years, so I know who the person she was before this. And when I first saw her face,
And this murder is just from the other day right here in North Dakota. This woman right here slit all 3 of her children's throats and only one of them survived. See that? Now, for years, the white woman, especially the Western white woman, has been in imagery and media sold to us as the quintessential family woman. She has been sold to us as the paragon of femininity, grace, class. Stop me if I'm telling any lies. Right? This is how the white woman has been sold to us. Right? In every movie, every TV show, every commercial, this is how the white woman has been sold to us. Right? Now, I will say this. And I have said this in the past. People see the actions of white women and they say, damn, white women are loyal as compared to some other kinds of women. And so it's hard for me to argue with that, right? But I told y'all before where that loyalty comes from. Think about it. These white women back in the in the Middle Ages, right? They saw Moors on majestic Arab ponies. They saw their own men, faces covered in dirt with lice. And some of these Moors would take them on as servants in their household where they had a chance to get a bath. Because the Moors be like, hey, you're not going to spread lice in my motherfucking house. You're going to have to wash your ass and wash your hair if you want to be up in here. Right? And they obliged. And yet, even though they got to see these Moors living in riches, smelling like frankincense and myrrh, they still went back to their white men every day. Because if this wasn't the case, the white race would have been extinct a long time ago. Right? So that's only part of the problem, Distant Rose. Feminism is part of the problem. It is. Distant Rose writes, and this, boys and girls, is why women were kept under a man's authority. Right? Exactly, Lion. Lion writes, whoever sows injustice reaps calamity, and the rod they wield in fury will be broken. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 8. And this is why I say chickens come home to roost. This is why I say chickens come home to roost. See, the white man has spent the better half of nearly 5 centuries now. Trying to tarnish and slander the so-called black man. The white man has spent the better half of those 5 centuries trying to brainwash the so-called black man's woman against him, and he's been very, very successful at it. During slave times, he told the so-called black woman that she was better than the so-called black man. He told her that he was only good for field work and only good as a field hand. Right? I would go to speculate that if my maternal grandfather would have been alive when, well, was he alive or would have been lucid when Django came out? No, he was alive. If he would have been more lucid when Django came out and would have watched it, he would have said, well, I'm surprised Stefan's character wasn't played by a black woman. No. If science guy, if you are, I don't know if you are, I think you are my Patreon. I'm gonna address King Dess's question. I'm gonna get into that tonight. It's gonna be some real black pill shit that's based off of science. I actually alluded to this in a past broadcast maybe a few years ago about why this is the case with the women of the Neanderthal. Right? We'll discuss that tonight in the Patreon. Not in the live, just in the recorded video. Right. Chris Brown, thanks for the cash app. Don't let that brother be alone. Don't let that brother be alone. Thank you, King Des. Thank you. Thank you. My grandfather used to say that too. King Des writes, I've never seen a turncoat black woman in those slave movies. They were bullshit. Right? But the white woman has been sold to us as the paragon of of femininity. And the white man has done everything he can for centuries to slander the so-called black man. They told them they told them that they were better than us. They told them that we were only good for brute labor and field hands. And even though it was the white man who's been going around raping and pillaging and still continues to do so, they told the so-called black woman that we were sexual deviants. And to this day, they still accuse us of such. Right? They told them all of these negative things about so-called black men, right? Right. In the early half of the 20th century, they would make sure to publicize anytime a so-called black female celebrity had a white husband, right? Simultaneously, in that same era, white female starlets were allowed to keep their romantic life private. They would have to be caught by paparazzi. There were even some white female starlets that had non-celebrity husbands who were also white, but they were just regular private citizens with a job, right? But if a so-called black female celebrity in the beginning half of the 20th century had a white spouse, they had to write about it. They had to talk about it. They did all of this in an effort to besmirch the so-called black man. They did that. They did that to make it look like the white man was the preeminent partner, the best partner that you could possibly get, and that the black man was the worst partner that you could possibly get. The reason that they publicize those black female celebrities with white men is to make the rest of the women on the earth look at black men as being terrible. That was the reason that they did it. In other words, if we see images and situations where it's possible of all other races of women to find happiness and comfort with a partner that is of their same race, why is that not the case with the so-called black woman? You see? In the same years that they were lynching so-called black men for being caught anywhere around a non-black woman or beating him to death, you had a union between a white man and a black woman go all the way to the Supreme Court in Loving versus Virginia. And Fox and Hounds, absolutely not. I've never seen a white feminist with a black husband. No. To answer your question, no. And as the 70s came in, with all of the moral cachet that the so-called black man had built up in the so-called civil rights struggle and his struggle for self-determination and for the final realization of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments of the U.S. Constitution, they needed to dirty up the image of the so-called black man because he had built up too much goodwill with peoples of the world. Because by this time, at this point in time, I'm talking about we are in the era of, not the 24-hour news cycle yet, but we are in the era of satellite news where images could be beamed all around the world. And so those caricaturized images of those Sambos and of Bojangles tap dancing just wasn't going to do for other peoples in the world in the human family, because that didn't match the reality of the so-called black men like Sam Cooke, Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar that they had grown used to seeing. Right? So in comes the Pimp movie. In comes the Pimp movie. Were there black pimps? Yes. Were there also white pimps? Yes. But before there were white pimps or black pimps, there were white madams. Indubitably, yes. But that's a subject for, and black madams, by the way, but that's a subject for a whole nother live. It's a subject for a whole nother live. Right? The 70s Pimp movie became a justification and a precursor to bring in feminism. I keep telling black folks this and they keep looking at me like I'm crazy, even though it makes perfect logical sense. Because I always ask them, I say, hey, if you remove the Pimp movies, right? If you remove the Pimp movies, do you know how crazy that black women would have looked in the 70s talking about some damn feminism, talking about they want to be liberated from black men? You would look crazy. You would look crazy. Right? And this media activity of slandering black men reached its zenith in the 80s and the 90s with movies like The Color Purple, Wait to Exhale, with movies like that. Right? It reached its zenith in the 80s and 90s. Is it not the late great Dr. Neely Fuller that once said that when you mix poison, you cannot be surprised when some of it gets on your hands? Right? Yeah, and all of the 80s and 90s talk shows too, them too, right? And for all of these white red pillars and all of these white MGTOW YouTubers, right? We were telling them at the dawn of red pill content on this platform, we were telling them, hey, the shit that y'all complaining about, we've been experiencing that. Right? We've been experiencing that. But then these same white dudes will get mad when you acknowledge that, hey, we made this red pill shit up. We might not have had a name for it, we made this shit up. They get mad. But it's the truth. They stood idly by while black men were slandered. They stood idly by while a cult of narcissism was nursed and nurtured in so-called black women. Right? Right? And now they had created an environment where the black woman was freer than the white woman. Really think about this. In this American century of the 20th century, the white woman has all of these different standards and systems of conformity that she has to live up to. All of these images and keeping up with the Joneses that she has to live up to. While the black woman is free to be whatever she wants to be. The black woman can be a weave diva. The black woman could be a natural goddess with big ass earrings, smelling like fucking patchouli oil with a wrap skirt on and dreads. The black woman can wear a blonde wig one day, red wig next day. The black woman can go in church with a pillbox hat on and have a pussy showing in spandex the next day. And this was put out here in the media. This was projected right out in the media. Right? This was projected right out there in the media. And eventually, after a couple of decades of seeing this freedom, because black women only had to follow in these modern, well, not just in modern times, but in colonial times all the way up to now, black women only had to follow one rule, and that's don't support black men. And it don't matter who that black man is to you. It could be your husband, your boyfriend, your uncle, your son, your cousin. Just don't support black men. If you support your son too much, then you coddling him, you being an enabler. If you support your husband or your boyfriend too much, you being a pygmy. If you support your male cousin or your nephew too much, you know, that's why these niggas are soft now. Right? That's the only rule. That's the only rule that they gave them to follow. And eventually white women saw this and they began to get jealous of it. And that jealousy is being manifested now with all of these white women acting crazy and killing their own kids. Right? And what are rank and file white women doing? Playing right into the code of narcissism. Here it is. You have a woman in here it is. You have a woman in Lindsay Clancy who strangled 3 children with a fucking resistance band, right? You know how hard it is to strangle somebody? Somebody struggling with all of their might against you. Strangle 3 children with a resistance band and not a hint of accountability. You have people saying that she's covering for the husband, which is fucking crazy that they think that he did it. You have people saying, you know, giving into this postpartum excuse. All of those white women you seen lying on the side of their road protesting, they doing that because they jealous of black women. They doing that because they don't want black women to have one step on them up on them. They want to be equal when it comes. They want to have the same. They don't want black women to have anything they don't have. And what black women have had that white women haven't had was the ability to live without accountability. Right? Because we've seen so-called black women get little or no time for killing children, right? And up until very recently, it was actually a condition in our legal system and our child protective system where black women would get slaps on the wrist or would get no penalty at all for child neglect, for children living in complete squalor. But white women at the same time, because white people were interested in protecting their children more, would get brutal amounts of prison time for the same crimes that black women would. And so white women began to see this and say, hey, y'all letting these nigga bitches live with accountability. What about us? What about us? Lion and MGTOW writes, I will make your oppressors eat their own flesh, and they shall be drunk with their own blood as with wine. Then all flesh shall know who I am. I am Lord, your Savior. Isaiah chapter 49, verse 26. Yep. Now, if I was a white man, I would be very, very fucking terrified about what's going on right now. I would be utterly fucking terrified. Because now that the white woman, and that's not to say that white women, they had less accountability with other crimes like stealing. It was like, I would say it like this. Up until recently, if a black woman got caught stealing, they would send her ass to jail. If a white woman got caught stealing, they would send her to a diversion program. A black woman caught a DUI, they're going to take her license away and have her in jail or doing some type of community service. A white woman get caught with DUI after DUI after DUI after DUI because every year 91% of DUI offenders are white people. Let's not get it twisted. Then they probably give them some type of, victim impact class where they got to go to and go to the class and hear the testimonies of, people who were harmed or killed by drunk drivers, or families were harmed or killed by drunk drivers, of course. Right? That's the difference. So white women did live in a state of reduced accountability as compared to black women in some things. But when it came to that child welfare question, white women were not given any fucking quarter by the legal system, whereas so-called black women were literally allowed to get away with murder. And the criminal statistics bear this out. For years, the so-called black woman has been the leader in second-degree murder by way of child abuse, according to the FBI. Right? And so now this cult of narcissism is being the same shit that you inculcated so-called black women into. Now white women are trafficking in it. Now white women are trafficking in it. And so it's going to be crazy to see the stories that's going to come out of this. The family annihilation survivor stories that's going to come out of this. You already got, during this Lindsay Clancy trial, you've already had a few young white women say that they're, talk about their mothers trying to kill them. And then you have them giving narratives about how the mother was the problem, as they observed in childhood, how the mother was the problem in their parents' marriages. And y'all think the red pill is going somewhere anytime soon? Good luck. Good fucking luck. At this point, the only way that this can end is with the repealing of the 19th Amendment and changes to what people would see regard as women rights. Because I don't really know how the society can survive like this for much longer. In terms of negative birth rates, in terms of females participating in family annihilation, in terms of governments having to, fund ever extending social safety nets. And by the way, can y'all recall a bunch of men rallying in support of Chris Benoit? Because I can't. If I was a white man, those women protesting on the side of the road would be an ominous fucking sight to me. Because now, white man, you're going to have to face the same thing that the black man has been victimized by for more than a century now. And that's a united coalition of his female counterparts that are hell-bent on destroying him and his progeny. This has been a Black Pill PSA. Peace.